In a bold move, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman announced plans to disinvest from 10 major companies. This decision is part of India's larger effort to boost economic growth and reduce the fiscal burden. The announcement marks a significant shift in policy, aiming to unleash the potential of private enterprise. The government hopes that privatization will lead to more efficient management and better financial performance. The list of companies includes some of India's largest public sector undertakings, or PSUs. These companies have played a critical role in the country's economic development. However, they have also been plagued by inefficiencies and financial losses. By opening the door to private investment, the government seeks to revitalize these entities. This move is not without controversy. Critics argue that privatization could lead to job losses and reduce public control over essential services. However, supporters believe it will attract investment, increase competitiveness, and ultimately benefit the economy. As India embarks on this ambitious privatization journey, the stakes are high. The success or failure of this initiative will have far-reaching implications for the country's economic future. India's relationship with the nationalization dates back to the post-independence era. In the 1950s and 60s, the government took control of key industries to build a self-reliant economy. This was seen as necessary for development and nation-building. Nationalization was driven by the belief that the state should control the commanding heights of the economy. By the late 1980s, the inefficiencies of state-run enterprises had become apparent. Many PSUs were losing money and dragging down the economy. The economic crisis of 1991 forced India to reconsider its approach. Under the leadership of then Finance Minister Singh, India began liberalizing its economy. This marked the beginning of a shift towards privatization and market-oriented reforms. Since then, there have been several waves of privatization. However, progress has often been slow and contentious. Political resistance, labor unions and bureaucratic hurdles have all played a role in stalling reforms. Despite these challenges, privatization has remained a key element of India's economic strategy. The recent disinvestment announcement by Finance Minister Sitharaman is part of this long-term trend. It reflects a continued commitment to reducing the state's role in the economy and promoting private sector growth. The 10 companies targeted for disinvestment include some of India's most prominent PSUs. Among them are Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited, or BPCL, Shipping Corporation of India, or SCI, and Air India. These companies are significant players in their respective industries and have substantial economic importance. BPCL is one of India's largest oil and gas companies. Its privatization is expected to attract significant interest from both domestic and international investors. The sale of BPCL could raise substantial revenue for the government and enhance the company's operational efficiency. Shipping Corporation of India is a leading player in maritime logistics. Its privatization aims to improve the competitiveness of India's shipping industry. By attracting private capital, the government hopes to modernize SCI's fleet and expand its global presence. Air India, the national carrier, has long been a symbol of India's aviation ambitions. However, it has also been a financial burden, with mounting losses and debt. Privatizing Air India is seen as essential for its survival and growth. The government has been trying to find a buyer for several years, and this latest push reflects renewed determination. Other companies on the list include Container Corporation of India, BEML Limited, and NINL. Each of these entities plays a crucial role in key sectors such as logistics, mining, and heavy equipment. Their privatization is expected to drive greater efficiency and innovation. Section 4. Potential challenges of privatization. Despite the potential benefits, India's privatization efforts face several challenges. One of the biggest concerns is political resistance. Privatization is a contentious issue, and it often faces opposition from various quarters. Labor unions in particular have been vocal critics, fearing job losses and reduced worker rights. There are also concerns about the valuation of assets. Ensuring that the government gets a fair price for its stake in these companies is crucial. Past privatization efforts have sometimes been criticized for undervaluing assets, leading to public outcry. Another challenge is the regulatory environment. Privatization requires a transparent and robust regulatory framework to prevent monopolies and ensure fair competition. India's regulatory landscape has improved, but there are still gaps that need to be addressed. Finally, there is the risk of market volatility. Economic conditions can change rapidly, affecting investor sentiment. The success of privatization depends on favorable market conditions and sustained investor interest. Any economic downturn or financial instability could derail the process. These challenges highlight the complexity of privatization. It requires careful planning, strong political will, and effective execution to achieve the desired outcomes. Section 5. Strategic Exceptions, Government Control. While the government is pushing for privatization, it has also identified certain strategic sectors where it will retain control. These sectors are considered vital for national security and economic stability. They include defense, atomic energy, railways, and certain minerals. The rationale behind retaining control in these areas is to ensure that critical services and resources remain under public oversight. For example, the defense sector is closely linked to national security, and privatizing it could pose risks. Similarly, atomic energy involves sensitive technology and materials that require stringent regulation. The railways are another area where the government remains involved. Indian Railways is one of the largest employers and a crucial part of the transport infrastructure. While there have been some moves towards private participation, the core operations remain under government control. Additionally, the government retains control over certain minerals and natural resources. This is to ensure that these resources are managed sustainably and in the national interest. Privatizing these sectors could lead to exploitation and environmental degradation, which the government aims to avoid. By retaining control over strategic sectors, the government seeks to balance privatization with national interests. This approach aims to ensure that critical services and resources remain accessible and secure. Section 6. Future implications for India's economy. The wave of privatization is expected to have significant implications for India's economy. If successful, it could lead to increased efficiency, innovation, and investment. Privatized companies are likely to be more competitive and financially sustainable, contributing to overall economic growth. One of the primary benefits of privatization is the potential for revenue generation. Selling stakes in state-owned enterprises can provide much-needed funds for the government. These funds can be used for infrastructure development, social programs, and reducing fiscal deficits. Privatization can also attract foreign investment. International investors often look for opportunities in emerging markets, and India's privatization drive could be a magnet for such capital. Increased foreign investment can lead to technology transfer, job creation, and enhanced global competitiveness. However, the success of privatization will depend on effective implementation. The government needs to address the challenges and ensure a transparent and fair process. This includes protecting the interests of workers, ensuring fair asset valuation, and creating a conducive regulatory environment. In conclusion, India's bold privatization push marks a significant shift in economic policy. It reflects a commitment to reducing the state's role in the economy and promoting private sector growth. While there are challenges, the potential benefits are substantial. If executed well, this initiative could pave the way for a more dynamic and prosperous Indian economy.